Good evening, you're very welcome to the Masters Championship for round number 13 of Division 2 here at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. My name is Graham and I'll do my best to bring you the action tonight from one of F1's most iconic tracks. Top 2-3 of the tracks that have appeared the most frequently in Formula 1 and always one that gives us quite a show. And before we get off into any of the nitty-gritty, so to speak, as Adam Acko, I believe, will be the first man to get us flying on a qualifying lap, so watch him as he tours around and keep an eye for anything else that happens in between elsewhere as we just kind of go through some of the bits of housekeeping for tonight. Di Miles, I think I'm saying that right, I just call him Miles, he's in for to keep it tonight in the McLaren. And you can see there is also Mercurial Caesar in the Toro Rosso, or is that the Red Bull? It's the Red Bull, my apologies, he's in the Red Bull tonight. Elsewhere, there is Stu, he's in the Red Bull as well, now full-time in Division 2. So that's a bit of housekeeping there. Only got yellow flag in Sector 3, probably just people slowing down. With regards the standings at the current moment, well, after last week's win, Yarm still top of the table. He is leading the way with 177 points ahead of Joe Corboy in second place with 145, and then you got Sway in third on 99. And then Cygate 82 points in fourth, he's having a great season, and then a tight battle between Kieran Trapp 73 points and Team C CVG on 72 points. And in the Constructors Racing Point have a comfortable lead, 249 points ahead of Alfa Romeo on 173. And again, nice little battle for third and fourth. Mercedes 145 and McLaren 135. Then a big drop off then to fifth place with Red Bull 82. Though a nice little battle there between Red Bull, Haas and Renault. 82, 75, 75, and even Williams in there in 8th place, 68 points, so plenty of positions to be making up in the Constructors, and that's what Adam Acko is going to look to do in the Williams as he comes across on the soft compound tyres. A couple of guys have ventured out on mediums and even hards to some as well, but 144.4, a very blessed lap time indeed. You'll enjoy that, but not as much as Awesome Dude will, having supplanted him. So moves into provisional pole, the Toro Rosso driver, and we'll get a few more cars coming across the line, see if we can catch a few. There's a Mercedes of Cygate as he comes across the line. It's third place, 144.5 ahead of Jan or Jan. I actually don't know which one it is. If you're watching on YouTube, hey, feel free to tell me. Did a 144.9, that puts him in fourth place. There's a Racing Point coming across the finish line. It will have to be Yarm, and he goes 45.2 on a set of hard compound tyres again, looking like the man to beat tonight, and that's a really good lap time for the hard compound tyres. Beat Silas there, who is on soft with maybe a bit of a mistake for Silas there. 46.3, not exactly the lap you'd be looking for. F1 AMG come to second place there in the Haas, 44.3. That's really loud. A couple others making their way across the line. Kieran Trapp there on mediums, 44.4 for him. Just marginally moves ahead of Adam Acko there into third place. His teammate, I've been Mike, just behind him, starting his flying lap. Not sure why the telemetry wasn't enabled, but there you go. And who else? One of the McLarens. That'll be Sway on his flying lap, overtake mode enabled. As he heads up towards Blanchimont. Flat out, of course. And then heavy braking to the bus stop chicane, bit of a difficult one to nail. First gear, get that extra rotation in the car, and a sprint towards the line, just around ERS as he crosses, and that's the 43.7. That is the first man into the 43s, so that'll be a time worth beating for sure. As I think most people have kind of see, it's it's obviously the longest track on the calendar, which makes it obviously, you know, people are going to take a little bit longer to get around and get laps in, but here is Unsafe Release, and he moves up into the top 5 again, and a lot of people into the 144.4, so lots of blessed lap times going on right now, so he joins that fray then as well. There's a Racing Point coming around. That is Yarm. We go for another lap, and it's hard to know he won't stay in. Trying to see if anyone's on another lap, but it looks like everyone's just kind of peeling into the pits, getting ready for their second runs. Of course, the guys on the hards will be a bit easier for them. Oh, there's debris there heading out of turn 1. But I missed it, but I'm going to go on board with the secondary Renault. Iverberg Mike as he goes to the finish line. 45.4 puts him just outside the top 10. Maybe could be better off starting outside the top 10. Maybe that would be the route maybe some people might go for, and I can understand why they would. But let's go on board with Stevie G here for a lap of this track. Just on board to see how he approaches this. Should be there amongst in contention for a top 5 results. So could get a good lap. See what he can do. Second gear coming out of La Source. Then of course see how he uses his ERS deployment as he charges towards Eau Rouge and then Radion. Not as difficult to take as in the previous game, flat out, especially on as the tyres rack up on their wear. You can see maxing out here 207, 208. Will he get to creep to 210? 209 as he has to negotiate the Renault as he heads into Les Combes. Those curves can be difficult. You have to be careful not to cut too much of that. Oh, gets on the grass a bit on the exit. You have to be careful not to cut too much of that corner. And then into the Bruxelles hairpin again. Inside curve can be pretty deadly. Outside curve can be pretty deadly as well. It's the no-name corner, nice and tight. Can run the wide on exit. Very nice indeed. So he runs then down towards Pouan. 7th gear. Nicely done. Can be difficult to take in 7th. I sometimes take it in 6th even. Not one of my favourite corners to take personally, but you can make up a lot of time through it if you are committed. And he looked like he was there, but into Stavelot. Get nice and tight. Got a nice bit of curb on the exit to run wide as well, and then through Paul Frere. Back in wants to get a little bit away there. This could be a dangerous part of the track if you rather have tyre wear kind of get yourself in a bit of a kerfuffle heading out of that turn. But he heads up towards the bus stop chicane now. And this looked half decent to be fair. What's it going to be? Can it beat Sway's 43.7? Well, it's a 43.7, but it's a 43.785. And that puts him narrowly off provisional pole position. Was a good lap to be fair. And that's a good lap. That was a nice lap to have a look at. Here is Thomas, and he goes into 3rd. Another man into the 43s. 43.8 for the Mercedes. His teammate Saige is just beginning a lap, I believe. There is a few cars behind them. Haas starting a lap, and there is a racing point of Yarm starting a lap as well. Let's go on board with Yarm actually on these mediums. May as well go on board. We're not at the pole shootout yet, so may as well. Takes a lot more curb in that source, but just gets a bit of a wobble on exit. Nice and tight. Is that a bit of rain I see? I think it might be. So might be a hurry then. Everyone's out on. Oh no, everyone's out on track. No, but the rain is definitely here. So get your laps in quickly because this track might not last until the end of the session. Now the guys on a flying lap at the moment should be fine. The rain shouldn't take that. I know it's a long lap, but it shouldn't take that much of an effect. Well, it shouldn't take that much of an effect by the end of this lap. It's light enough, so their lap time shouldn't be too disturbed at the moment. But anyone leaving the pits now, they may not have the same luxury as the guys out on track at the moment. So I'm looking at the 2 Mercedes. Well, actually, the Saige more so because he just started this lap. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have a rain affected session. I wonder if this is like this for the race as well. So Yarm then is falling out of the top 10. As Atabako then goes into 4th place, 43.8 rather. So he joins second row of the grid into the 43s. We'll actually switch gears a bit here because I imagine track is going to be getting wetter and wetter, and unsafe release. Or sorry, Saige rather dives in. Teammate CVG is actually retired from the session, so didn't want to go out for another run. Maybe the track wouldn't have been ready for it, but yeah, rain continues to fall. Jan 44.8. It's only good enough for 11th place. Yarm couldn't make it. Did he make an improvement on his lap? He did, to 45 lap. Maybe the track is deteriorating a bit more rapidly than I may have expected. I know obviously it's a long lap here, and that takes you have to take that into consideration as well. Yarm's retired on the track, I believe. So he's still heading up the hill, so not sure what the punishment for that is. F1's doing a lap. We'll see who's behind him. Kieran Trapp on a lap. Coming to the end of it, this looks alright. It's a 43.8. Again, this is very tight. 3 cars into the 48s. Or 43 rather, 43.8s. So nice and tight at the well, yeah, at the front. Not much to separate these guys, but have a long distance then between the next car. I'm guessing is it Sway who's next? He is, and he's 2 seconds down in this time, so I think he has backed off this. And actually, it might be worth looking at the sector times. More and more people are retiring from the session, so I think yeah, the rain has very much so affected conditions here. I don't think it's anyone on a fine lap. I don't think so. I think everyone's on an in lap. So I would be surprised if this is how we're looking for the start of this race. So in the end, no one could break through into the top 10 on the a compound that was different than the softs. Jan came the closest, less than a tenth off of TMC Coreboy, who actually, well, he's ahead of Yarn, but maybe not better off hoping he was outside of the top 10 there. Get a fresh choice of tires, so because we don't know the story for the weather start of the race. It could be wet as well. I'm going to well, maybe I would assume by people going on mediums, either they underestimated the rain, or perhaps rain is like, yeah, one of those two. So there is your grid. So 4 people can get a time in, F1 Stu being one of them. Bomber Sanford, Mercurial Caesar, and Big Shotta be lining up at the back. And at this stage we're just getting ready, waiting for people to retire from the session. So that's all we're waiting on. When we do that, I guess we can go racing. Although Ivory Mike has decided to go out for a lap, so he's the only one that's out on track at the moment. Not sure why, because there's no real chance of improving a lap time in these conditions now. Yes, it is still raining. I have to check if it was still raining, because just in case, what if everyone had missed the trick and it was only raining for a minute or two, and then boom, all of a sudden, it actually doesn't seem as heavy as it once was, to be fair. It is still falling. He's a second and a half down, so yeah, the pace still isn't quite there. But that would have been funny if everyone had retired prematurely and then the rain actually stopped and get a time in, one more time in. Yeah, not much else to say. It doesn't even matter that he hasn't retired, because he's not the only one. Like, it's not as if he's the only car that's left to retire, because obviously there are 2 other drivers who also haven't retired. So it wouldn't even matter if Ivory Mike hadn't retired, because we still have to wait for the other 2 to retire. So that's where we stand. An interesting grid for sure, because 22 laps obviously be the longest race of the calendar as well in terms of distance. I need to turn down the volume because that's a little high, shall we say. A little loud when it was on board, so hey, we've got nothing else to do at this stage, so may as well. This is stuff you don't see from other it's stuff you don't normally see when people have to retire and there's still 2 and a bit minutes left. Oh, don't go, unless this is practice for the race. Don't. Okay, good. I was going to say, don't go any intermediates. It's not okay. So if you want to see who the cheaters are in qualifying, I mean, there you go. Speeding in the pit lane, that's shameful. To be honest, Belgium's not a track you really should get a ton of. We shouldn't see a ton of time penalties tonight, because realistically, the only place you'd really cut is if you take too much of the curb heading, or too much heading up the hill through a Rouge and Radion. Shouldn't really happen unless it's wet, or unless you're on battered tires. But the other place then is the next turn heading after Lake Com, the right-hander. Just before you head down towards the hill, you can cut that as well, and that can lead to problems. I guess some people end up getting penalties at the bus stop chicane, but again, you shouldn't really. But yeah, it happens to the best of us. 1 minute 20 left, so I mean, thankfully we don't have too much longer to wait, really. But yeah, everyone else's time is being wasted. Couple of I was looking at the comments. Yarm saying going to be a difficult one. Yeah, probably from P13. You know, coming up through the grid, that can always have its danger, especially a track like this. He is out on track. Wow, we're just gonna have to look at this for a minute. Who's loaded 99? Comment on YouTube saying default setup for the win. So that's always fun. But unless you watch the video from TRL Limitless lately, the default setup actually isn't as bad as you think. Though to be fair, I actually didn't watch that particular video, but I know from doing a couple of default default kind of runs that the default setup isn't actually awful. The only thing that's kind of sucky on the default setup is the brakes, the brake pressure. If you're not using ABS, or if you are using ABS rather, so you're losing that kind of. But everything else is like you're running pretty high wings anyways for the most part, because I think downforce is like turning is obviously key. A lot more emphasis placed on down kind of turning and losing time through that way rather than, you know, obviously straight line speed was king last year. So there we go, finally. Well, that killed a minute or two. Default setup talk. But there you go. We can finally get the show on the road. So Sway is on pole position, just ahead of Stevie G in second, Kieran Trapp in third, Thomas then in fourth, Adam Mako 5th, Austin Dude 6th, F1 AMG 7th, Unsafe Leeson 8th, Cygate 9th, Team C Corby in 10th. Oh, he did stay as fast time medium, it's my mistake. So that leaves things a little interesting if it's a dry start to this race. Something a little bit different. Of course, he's at a disadvantage if, you know, obviously compared to, say, Jan and Yarm, who could obviously start on a fresher set of the harder compound tire. And imagine everyone else behind. Unless you're maybe Caesar, maybe you would like to get an aggressive start on the softs, kind of make a few places up through the field quickly. Always a possibility if you've got pace kind of further at the back and you don't. You've got the pace rather, and you're at the back. You need to get some grip positions up early. Let's see then. What am I expecting? Okay, there's no rain to start at least. Sun is shining. See the shade. Ah, beautiful. I love looking down to pit lane, not at the grid. So a dry running to start then. So we'll see what effect that has on the strategy and the guys starting outside the top 10. I'm interested, obviously, looking. I know Joe's in 10th. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he is going to do on those mediums. Yarm then, obviously, if he goes for set of hards, it'll be really interesting. We shall see. I doubt people want to stay too long on these softs. I can remember the Ultra Softs from F1 2017 here. Ugh. Not too nice. Not too nice at all. After a few laps. Always the always possibly for destruction heading up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. But here we go then. Onto the formation lap. Let's see what we've got. So then, okay. So no one selecting the hards. Everyone outside the top 10 bar either been Mike and F1 Stu on the softs. I thought Caesar might have gone for the softs, but not to be. F1 Stu Haver is. He's got pace to burn as well back there, so looking to make a few quick moves. It obviously means that the guy, you know, obviously Jan and Joe could be targets for either Mike off the start. Obviously softs. Get a good run off the line. Stu as well. This will benefit Stu a little bit more because he's a little bit further back on the grid. It's a short run down to last source here, down to turn 1. So, you know, you got to have a pretty decent start if you want to make up significant traction. So it might benefit Stu, who's standing a little bit further back on the grid, a bit more run, a bit more tarmac, so to speak, to get down to turn 1 to make a bit of a jump. So let's see what he can do. And obviously then get through last source, and then it's just a straight line speed. Then slipstream, who's going to, some people might not want to use their ERS all on lap 1. Some might need to defend, some might need to attack. So obviously as a track where there's so much straight line speed, your ERS deployment is going to be pretty important at this track. We shall see then. So Sway in the past hasn't dealt too well with the pressure that is starting further at the front, and it's definitely a different thing to lead than it is to chase. When you're the chase car, kind of, you have your sights set in front of you, you know what you're doing, you know what you're going for, but it's a completely different ballgame when you are the car at the front and everyone is behind you. You're the one looking over your shoulder, you're the one that has got the target on your back, and it just changes the dynamic entirely. It's one thing to win a race. I was actually thinking about this the other day because I was randomly thinking about Heikki Kovalainen. And yes, he had one race win, but really, that was not a win he really earned, so to speak. He didn't know what it was like to lead the race, so to speak, and win it himself. Obviously, Felipe Massa, 2008 Hungarian Grand Prix, retired, 3 laps to go, dominant out front, and Kovalainen just picked up the pieces, and that was it. So it's a very kind of different thing, and that's the kind of pressure Sway will have to deal with tonight. But his good news is that he's got a short run down to turn one, but obviously a long run then to the next braking zone at Les Combes. Here we go then. Safety cars I'm sure will be a factor as well. Maybe that might help the guys on the softs. Early one, come in, see what your options are, and yeah, see what we can do from there. We'll go over a Kieran Chop. Actually, nice run of, nice view of first and second in front of him with his nice chrome helmet. I love a good helmet, as you know. CVG's actually got a pretty nice helmet as well in second place. Here we go then. 22 laps around Spa. Should be a hoot. Here we go. No glitches, thankfully. We've got 5 red lights. And away we go. Looks like a good start for Stevie G. He's going to be on the outside, heading down towards turn 1. Can he drive around the outside of Sway? Sway's gone deep. Kieran Trap. Oh, there's a bit of a sandwich. Stevie G is going to be 3 wide as they head up towards. Oh, there's an accident at the back. There's a Red Bull round. I think it's Stu. But they're 3 wide. But Stevie G muscles his way through. And side by side as they file then in. So Stevie G ahead of Kieran Trap. Sway right behind the Renault. Important run down towards Les Combes. Caesar's out of this race and the safety car has been deployed. So where's the accident? Oh, I've been Mike there as well. So contact then heading into Radion. See, the leaders got out of this one quite well because it was very, you can't get 3 cars let alone even 2 side by side heading up. Eau Rouge and Radion can be done in 2, but you really have to trust the other car to play ball. And yeah, so that's, you saw then obviously common sense prevailed at the front as they kind of, I think Sway kind of just kind of filed in. But safety car is out, 1 retirement. I believe Mike was involved in that accident as well. He's got a bit of front wing left, but not much of one. So the decision time then for these guys in the sauce. Will anyone pivot? Will anyone decide to make a pit stop on lap 1? We'll just kind of give you a quick overview of the position change. There you go. So Sway down 2, went deep into turn 1, so he did. Sidegate up 2 spots, good for him. Joe staying there in 10th. Yarm up 2 spots, then right behind his title contender. Good start for Chubbs, who I forgot to mention was a reserve for tonight, as was Caesar. So that's my bad. So 5 places up to 15th. So yeah, obviously I've been Mike, loser in all that, down 7th place. So not a ton of losses really. So does anyone decide to pivot then? Let's see. And nothing really changed. Like nothing really changed in terms of ERS. Like you're going to basically, you know, you're starting close anyways. And Thomas comes into the pits now. Is that to replace damage or is that for strategical purposes? I'll tell you what though, they did not plan that well in Mercedes because there's going to be a double stacking involved here. Because they're both in. They are on softs. Jan in as well on his mediums. No wing change at Mercedes, so this is just pretty strategy. And he's pivoting onto the hard compound tyres as Thomas. So interesting choice there. Must be damage here on this Haas because he's changing. Yes, he's changing the front wings. The end plate on the right is broken. Only reason you would change from mediums at this stage. From outside the top 10, he goes onto the softs. Big shot into the pits as well. Getting a wing change as well onto the mediums. Yes, the other way you can get a penalty is if this under safety car course where things are a little wild. So there you go. A couple of guys, both Mercedes pivoting onto the hards. Not as much time lost obviously in this scenario than obviously under racing conditions. Double stacking, obviously this game does not do well double stacking, but not too bad under safety car. But obviously Sidegate, he's going to be a bit far back. He's going to be, yeah, track position will come nicely to him as everyone pits, but could be exposed later on because it's not the longest pit lane here in Spa. And obviously it's quite a competitive pit lane as well because obviously it just feeds out nicely into turn 1. Obviously you cut a good bit of turn 1 and then yeah, released into the space then. So majority of the runners then at the front here deciding to stick with their guns and stay on the softs. And it makes sense. Like I can see it both ways. To be fair, if it was lap 2 or 3, I could obviously see a quite different scenario. But just to show you then the stops. Oops, wrong one. There, sorry, that's the one. So everyone from Thomas now, that was interesting for Thomas because he was in a good position there. So he has a lot more to. Would you say he's got more to lose than he has to gain from doing that? Well, we'll find out. But hopefully the safety car isn't out too long. We can get underway. Safety car restarts here at Belgium can be pretty fun. So I'll see. Memorable one in 2017 between Hamilton and Vettel. That was a classic restart. Under safety car, Hamilton going defensive up to Lake Common. That was fun though. It was a fun one indeed. It's probably my favourite camera angle as well. The that zoom in kind of chase towards Lake Common, the one where they come over the crest at Radion as well, is a really cool broadcast angle. It's two of my favourites. Coming from this track for sure. You got overtaking here under the safety car. It's not allowed, sir. So hopefully one more lap of this and we are kind of good to go. Because obviously under safety car, it's a long lap here anyway. So yeah, like 2:49. It's a long gap to fill on the safety car here. So the sooner we can get going, the better. I wonder if Sway will be relieved in some ways to kind of. Maybe that pressure is off to an extent. Now that he's kind of settled in, kind of, the nervousness of the start is kind of faded, and then, oh, that's another penalty for Miles. The start, the kind of the nervousness of the start is faded. Now you can just kind of settle in. Shout out to Keeper on in the comments. I am good, sir. I hope you are doing well. I'm missing you out here in the track though. What's going on? You should be here, man. We need you here to keep it challenging these guys at the front. Who else is looking interesting? Obviously the guys on mediums, Joe and Yarm up into 10 seconds. That'll be getting removed. In the top 10 on the mediums. It's interesting to watch these two actually at the restart. Obviously Joe needs to keep Yarm behind him if possible. There's enough points behind the standings as it is, but yeah, we can see what happens. I am hoping safety car will just peel, and the Mako is in a nice little spot here as well. So really, I mean, like, there's a lot of people you can say is in a good spot here. This is being backed up quite a bit. Who's doing this backing up here? This part of the who's bottlenecking this part? Oh, a severe collision. Is that piece of front wing gone? On the left-hand side? No, it's all still there, at least visually. Here we go. Safety car is in this lap. Yes, we can get going. So then, as is the case, CVG is the de facto pace car. It is his prerogative to set the pace, and they go on his go. And the safety car line, if it wasn't clear already, I've said it before, people forget because people don't know how to act under safety car sometimes. A change for F1 2019 is that the safety car line is no longer a thing. The green flag racing starts at the start-finish straight. That is a change people have not gotten familiar with, but that is the case. So, until we cross that start-finish straight, we are under yellow flag conditions. And I think CVG has let the go. See if he's managed to take advantage of having that space in front of him. Got a nice little gap there. Might be enough as we go racing once again here at Spa. Second separating Adam and Awesome Dude, but good gap between Kieran Trapp and CVG, and even to that as well. Oh, down the inside, there's a Ferrari. He went deep. Will actually go on board with unsafe release. He's probably, yep, that's a penalty. Oh, Awesome Dude almost lost it. Oh, I thought there was an accident. Up ahead for a second, but he almost lost it. Did Awesome Dude next side by side, getting onto the grass. That's a horrific camera angle. There we go. Yellow flag in sector one. I think that's McLaren of Miles. An awesome dude manages to hold on to that position, but he was lucky not to lose a lot more than that. And Thomas down the inside on F1 Stu, of course, on the hards. Oh, a bit of contact. Oh, that's push. Thomas off balance, and that's like Saigate through and Bomber right behind him as well. So a frantic restart here as Jan actually left the session, so he is done. Oh, Bomber goes a bit deep, but a good restart at the front. Top three keeping their distance and stretching out a good lead already. So look at that, 5 seconds already in this lap alone. And Ibrahim Mike is out and the VSC is out. He's obviously lost a Puon. Oh, he's way before Puon. They have a no-name corner. And Miles has got a very much broken front wing. He won't make it back in time. Captain Chubb's also got a broken front wing. So a bit of carnage to restart this one. So we're under VSC now. I wonder if this stays out long enough. See Sway. There is a bit of a glitch in this where you can lose a lot of time behind the VSC because you can just floor it. And that's what's happened here, because now 4 seconds back is Stevie G. Or is Kieran Chop to Stevie G, and Sway, he knows the rules. Now will they pivot and pit? No. No for Stevie G. None of them are going to pit this lap under the VSC. I wonder if it would even last. But yeah, there you go. Kieran Chop making up some of the trying to make up some of the gap that he's let slip. I wonder if here we go then. We are green flag racing once again. But this time with a significant advantage this time for Stevie G, leading the way, and no one's really that close apart from Big Shotta. He's going to try and make a move on Bomber Sandford. He's missing part of his front wing. Goes a little deep. And we'll have to try and continue the fight elsewhere. The two Mercedes. This is a pretty important battle, all things considered. And Unsafely's had a big moment here heading out of Radion, because F1 AMG has just gone clear him, and his teammate Joe Corey is also going to go clear him. Oh, and Bomber Sandford's out of this race. As we look at Joe making the move on his teammate, where was that taking place? I have no idea, so I'm going to guess it's Radion. So, yeah, Unsafely wasn't under any pressure there, but mistake coming out of Radion, I'm going to assume, and that cost him 2 positions there. His teammate is who. That could be helpful for Joe. If Unsafely can keep Yaron behind, it will be beneficial to his race, but he has to try and take off, just as Stevie G is taken off here. 2.7 seconds up the road already on Kieran Chop, so he's looking good, as Miles is absolutely piling up the penalties early on. Oh, a few of them are under safety car conditions. Speaking of Yarm, all over the back of Unsafe Release. See Joe on the back of F1 AMG as well. Of course, F1 AMG on his softs, and Unsafe Release also on softs, so that leaves him a little bit vulnerable as these laps mount up in this first stint. But Sway getting a little bit closer to the back of Kieran Chop. He's not really in. Oh, and Stu is out of this race. Not really using much of the deployment, so he's very much biding his time. And a safety car is in again, and that has worked out disastrously for Stevie G, who's gone past the pit lane. He was past the pit lane when the safety car notice came out, so that's worked out absolutely perfectly for everyone except the race leader. Guys on mediums will carry on, of course. Wow, that worked out an absolute treat for the Kieran Chop and Sway in particular, who were literally right there. They'll put on mediums then, so another safety car is out then. Not sure where. So this part of the track, you see a lot of people in Yarm going onto the hard, so he actually pivots from the mediums. Was it coming out of Paul Frere? Yes, it was. Okay, so that's where the accident. That's where Stu ended up parking his car. Let's see then. So this puts then Thomas into 4th place. How you stop? There's your stop situation. Everyone but the top 3 has made a stop. Side guys has made a 2nd stop here upon the mediums. Silas, you're on yellow flag, unsafe release. Oh, must have been to overtake this ghost car, I'm going to assume. I wonder if Yaron got the same one then. So Yaron pivoted then on his mediums onto hards. Joe did not. That's a disaster for Stevie G. That's worked out pretty rough. And Big Shotta is out of this race. Oh, has he been under safety car? Wow. I wonder if he's... Yeah, wow. 2 things either happened there. One, he's either done that on purpose. Second, I think more likely is that he's maybe been under safety car. Because why would you rage go under safety car where you can just get back to the front here, or, you know, or to the leading pack? Maybe if Big Shotta is watching, maybe he can confirm, or someone can confirm. But well, that's a surprising one. So down to 15 runners already. So a race of attrition so far. I suspect there's more to come. So yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, we could basically rule out Stevie G, I think, for the win of this race. Now that's a tough break. That's a very tough break for the Racing Point. Interested to see where he might finish, though. All things considered, so I think we're going to be here for another lap at least. So we've only had like what 2-3 laps of racing, if even, and we're a quarter of the way there essentially. Good opportunity, of course, to save fuel, save ERS. Of course, again, lots of straight line parts here. Well, not straight line parts, but full throttle parts. So having lots of fuel and lots of ERS, and CVG does pivot then. So, ooh, makes a bit of contact. That's the right decision, I think. You're going to be in a world of pain regardless. And Team C Coreboy now is that's a bit late for Joe. On the mediums, I would thought maybe just carry on at this stage, but yeah. Obviously, Stevie G couldn't have pitted the lap before, but Joe's going to lose a lot more time from not pitching the lap before. That's a blunder on his part. But on the mediums comes Stevie G. It's better to take this hit now than under racing conditions. They should be able to catch up easily. Yeah, they're basically already there. So, yeah, that's smart from Stevie G. Just make the best, unfortunately, of what was a pretty crap hand that was dealt to him with the timing of that safety car. So, yeah, in this way he gets himself a chance to kind of put himself back in contention and make his way through the field rather than have to make up a lot of time. So I think that worked out best for him. That was the best thing to do, all things considered. Obviously it did not work out best for him in any way, shape or form. So that means we've got Silas. Silas is leading a Grand Prix. So there you go. Okay, PSN maintenance during... Okay, that makes sense why to keep it isn't racing. I swear, man, Miles will give himself disqualified at this rate. There is a lot of penalties flying in. Let me have a look, actually. I'm curious at this stage. Where are we? Oh gosh. Yeah, I think we'll be looking at disqualification if he doesn't retire first. That is. So one man is on softs. That is Jan in 10th on final pole softs. That's not going to work out well either. He probably should have pitted. Alas, that is going to be a tough one to take. So the big question is, so then Thomas is obviously the effective race leader right now. He can probably go to the end on those hards, possibly. Kieran Trapp looking good. Sway looking good. Adam looking good. Nice helmet as well, by the way. Oh, a penalty for Yarm. Yeah, the penalties are the safety car conditions. Oh, Jan's left a session. That's right. I forgot about that. That's gonna be that's actually not as bad now as it would be under previous safety car conditions, where obviously you go with the safety car line. That would have been much worse. I've been there trying to overtake lap cars, or not ghost cars under safety car issues. Pretty rough stuff. Here we go then. Let's go racing once again. Can Silas hold on to the lead? How long can he keep Thomas at bay? And then even still for Kieran Trapp, Sway, and these guys behind all on mediums. Can they get the jump on Thomas on those hards? And if so, how quickly can they do it? Well, here we go then. Must be an unusual spot for Silas. He is legitimately leading this race. Here we go then. Of course, no DRS yet, and we guys penalty for yellow flags. I'm sure those will have to be looked at later on. But here we go then. We are racing once again. A bit tighter margin this time from when we were last. But let's see then who is going to do what as they head down towards Eau Rouge then on the racing conditions once again. And Thomas looking to make a move quickly. Can they hold it? Oh, that's the shot I'm talking about. It's beautiful. Not much Silas really here can do. He sticks to the middle of the track, leaning towards the right-hand side. It's the right thing to do, but nothing I don't think he can do to stop Mercedes from coming through. He's going to fire those side by side. Oh, almost made contact. Kieran Trapp, can he slip through? Very important that he does. And he has done. That's a big one for Kieran Trapp. He's got through with minimal difficulty. He's up into second place then, and now it's up to everyone else to try and follow suit as quickly as possible to minimise the time lost on a car that has whose tyres are a little bit older than the people behind him. And Kieran Trapp looks to try and make moves on Thomas as well. So But of course that is for the lead of this Grand Prix. And if Sway sticks in this range, he should have a good run with the slipstream heading towards the bus stop chicane. Will he get there beforehand though? Will he have a look at the Stavlo? No, not quite. Move wasn't quite there. Obviously Kieran Chap could do the same thing, get into the slipstream. Of course no one else punching a hole in that air in front of him. Should be an easy move then for Sway. Ducks to the inside of Blanchemont. This could be a dangerous place to overtake, to be fair. If your person 5 isn't playing game, and Sway's got a penalty, I'm guessing, for the outside limits. Adam Mack, will he go down the inside as well? Tried to follow through but couldn't get the move done. But he's all over the back of that Ferrari. So there you go then, fastest lap coming from Kieran Trapp. A bit of lag there. Might have deterred Adam from making a move on that occasion. But he's got it done. All into the wall, goes all into the Haas is with him. That's F1 AMG, that's awesome, dude. Guessing where it's contact from behind. And the VSC is deployed, it has been deployed, so again we're under yellow flag conditions. So yeah, I would have to see what happened there again, but I definitely saw Size got a little bit uncomfortable heading out of last source. I'm not sure if that had a bottleneck the guys behind, or if that was just an unrelated accident between Awesome Dude and F1 AMG rather. They are still in the race. I'm surprised with that impact. I'm surprised that the wheel didn't fall off there for Awesome Dude, but thankfully for him it didn't. And what we've seen so far, look, may have a broken wing, but of course, yeah, unfortunately it is a VSC rather than full course caution. But I mean, look, we're not even halfway through this race yet, and I'm sure we'll have more safety cars to come as we're underway once again. Again, Kieran Chop his restarts, leave him a little bit under pressure. Sway was having a little nose. A bit harder for Sway to get past on this occasion because there is a car in front of that Renault punching a hole in the air. Oh, bit of a snap there. Oversteering moment for Sway as his teammates look like they're trying to get by F1 AMG, who of course we know has got damage. Let's see then if Kieran Chap will go for a move. Not shy about using his ERS. We are getting closer to the DRS being activated, so just need to hang in that second range. And there's a chance. Nothing really crazy going on. No matter overtakes, I guess we won't see too much until the DRS is enabled, but it is just a big train for now. There we go, DRS is enabled, and now Thomas, Silas, they're definitely in trouble for sure. They do not have DRS in front of them. Let's see then. Oh, a shift between some of the onboards. Keep it nice and steady. Oh, Sway getting big. Oh, very big moment for Sway. Is that going to leave him exposed to Adam? No, not quite, but another penalty for him, so he's not coping with the pressure too well, is Sway. And, oh, Thomas, bit of a late move back across, but Kieran Chap down the inside. No, not quite. As Yarm gets by Silas, and yeah, Unsafely I think was by as well. Into Bruxelles. Oh, Thomas moves across. Kieran Chap not able to make the move on this occasion. Adam Acko though on Sway, and as maybe again they're twitching one maybe for Sway, but not usually an overtaking spot before that corner. Into it perhaps, but not beforehand. And there you go then, Adam into the podium places then. Sway falling backwards in this race, just struggling in these conditions, and sadly he is going backwards for now, and I think a podium's probably out of contention now with the penalties that he has got, and obviously out of the podium spots himself. Is already 1.2 seconds behind. I wonder if he's got oh yeah, I think he might have damage. He's got damage on the right hand side of that car. No, I thought it looked like he had for a sec. My bad. We've explained the pace deficit though for sure. Wow, Kieran, but to be fair, Thomas has also used a lot of his ERS. Adam looking pretty nice here with a nice dosage of his ERS still remaining. Sias is falling backwards, and that's because he's into the wall out of Blanchemont. It looks like everyone's managed to avoid it. Big queue here between behind Cygate here. Captain Chubbs is there as well, but we're going to stick at the front here because there's a genuine possibility that we're going to be changing leader pretty soon. Although that battle there between Cygate, Chubbs, Joe and CVG is one that is I'm going to be looking at closely then as well, but couldn't get by last lap with the DRS. Can Kieran Chap get by this time? Used a lot of his ERS. He's got to be forced to save pretty soon, and that'll bring Adam Acko into the into the fray, but he's just not close enough. He's Kieran Chops with good straight line speed on that Mercedes. Captain Chubbs is going to go down the inside. Yarn picks up a 3-second penalty. Sygate then overtaken by Chubbs, but stays ahead of Joe for the time being, and Stevie G behind him then as well. When you have a look, Sygate moving over to the right hand side, trying to deter Joe from going down the inside, a possibly open door. But he needs to make this move quickly, as I think now, yes, the guys at the front are harvesting their energy, and so is Adam as well, so he's looking at a nice little spot. He's the Williams driver with over half of this roll. We're halfway there in this race. Plenty to play for, and there's a chance we could be looking at a different winner than Yarm, obviously victors of the last few races. But here we go then, Kieran Trapp again. Look, he knows he has to get this move done quickly. The pressure from behind will be building, especially now that he's basically run out of ERS, and it's going to cost him. He's in a tough spot, and I wonder this lap if he is in danger to the Williams behind, as Unsafe Release dives into the pits from 5th place on his mediums. He's got a damaged front wing by the looks of it. Thought it looked damaged. It looked like it looked damaged for the right hand side. Hard to tell it's here, of course, with the oh, it's a drive-through penalty. Let's go under the safety car. I didn't notice that pop up. My apologies. I see Adam a little bit further away this time, but again, he just has to bide his time really. But I wouldn't bide it for too long, as Sygate and Joe, and that is Joe into 7th place. I wouldn't wait too long if I was Adam, because the longer this goes on, the more time obviously you leave for the car in front to get kind of charge, and obviously, well, see they're already up to 20 odd %, so maybe the time maybe was a lap ago to just kind of go full out. Of course, unless he's got unless Adam's got someone watching the stream obviously and feeding information into his ear like an engineer, he wouldn't know, of course, about the ERS management going on in front of him. So unfair really to criticise. He's not even criticising, it's just observation. To kind of, you know, when to go for it. But he's definitely looking much prettier than the two in front. That will come to him, I think, later on in this race. He's still got a nice... The other key thing, of course, is that he's got DRS, whereas the cars behind him do not. So Adam is benefiting from having that straight line speed boost, obviously, with the DRS, that the cars behind are not getting. Though he isn't pulling out massive amounts from Sway. Of course, he does have a decision to make when, as does Kieran Chop, of course, when to pull into the pits. An important one indeed. Again, that Mercedes has got good straight line speed. They charge up the hill once again. No foibles this time, so I think we've got through most people who've had their accidents through there. Yeah, I don't think he's going to pass this lap. We're going to go with Yaram trying to overtake Sygate. Running on low ERS himself. But Sygate doesn't really fight that too much. And inside line should prove decisive. And there he goes as Yaram. Or sorry, I say Stevie G rather. Sorry, Yaram's up here in 5th. As Stevie G up into 8th place, of course, having to try and claw back some of those positions that he would have lost earlier after the unfortunate timing of the safety car left him in a pretty tough spot, but he can salvage something out of this race still from 8th place at the moment. And he's got Joe in front of him, who is on the hard compound tyres, and that, well, I mean, well, actually Stevie G's going to have to make another stop anyway, so Joe might not, so that actually won't really count for Tom Beware. So probably a gap there between maybe Miles and Silas. If not, then nice little gap between Silas and F1 AMG from the leaders to make a pit stop. Of course, anyone behind this, rather, basically from Sway onwards, he's got back within the DRS now of Adam in front. So some good laps here from Sway. Let's see then. They carry on for another lap, and they bring Yarm and Chuz close. Oh, there's a car on the wall. That's Sway. He's lost it coming out of the last corner. a difficult place on no tracks. Has to be careful how he turns that car around. And he's got it safely turned around. There's unsafe release. So unfortunately for Sway, again another mistake in this race. And well, that's very much. If it wasn't absolute before, it certainly is now. That it won't be a podium for Mr. Sway. That's unfortunate for him. But here we go then, Captain Chubbs. A lot of straight line speed. DRS open on the racing point in front of him of Yaram, and can he make it down the inside? He makes it through for the corner, slots back in, and that is Chubbs then up into 4th place ahead of Yaram then. But heading back to the front again, Thomas, Kieran Trapp and Adamako. I actually hope Miles doesn't actually doesn't get disqualified. I would love to see how many seconds of penalties he has at this stage, because he's just got another 8 seconds in this lap alone, so this could be fun. Oh, Yaram and Chubbs side by side. Inside of Stavilo for Yaram, space is left by Chubbs, but Chubbs had the bare exit through Paul Fair. Oh, a bit of contact was there. Oh, and Chubbs is just about to avoid himself going into the wall. Good save, but unfortunately he couldn't prevent Yaram from coming through, but they are still going at it. And Joe will be getting a little bit of time as the situation in front of him unfolds. But Yaram is through. Will Chubbs go down the inside into the bus stop chicane? To be fair, Yaram left in the space, so that battle very much not over as of yet. Move on to lap 15 of 22. These guys be getting close to making their stop soon. If they go, I mean, can they go to the end? Tyre wear will be pretty high, as still side by side Chubbs and Yaram. Yaram holding that position for the time being. Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. That is also doing off the track. Yellow flag through that section, but nothing more than that. DRS open for Chubbs. He's got Joe and Stevie G behind him as well. Stevie G's caught to the back of Joe. Not got a lot of ERS though, has to file in. So Stevie G's making good progress though. And obviously the squabbling of Yaram and Chubbs has allowed Joe to catch up, so that's brought these guys closer together. So Stevie G is all of a sudden looking at 4th place in front of him, if he can make some overtakes on the track. Meanwhile, ERS situation is pretty similar for these guys at the front here. That's also due to out of this race. Now, if the safety car were to come out now, that would make life pretty good for these guys at the front here if they wanted to pivot and make a stop. It would neutralise the race in many ways, the different strategies we've got going on. I think everyone basically would come into the pits. But no sign of it for the time being. Of course, I think Austin just did do it in the pit lane, so we are green flag racing once again. Keeping a steady distance. Stevie G still a few tenths behind. Head to the chicane once again. Chubbs managed to break a second out on Yaram, but it's pretty close. It's very close. If you could just break out of that just before this section, be looking good. But as long as the longer he stays in DRS, of course, the obviously more of a looming threat Yaram is in this race. Again, commitment is high through Arouge and Radion. Of course, it is very easy just to drop it. As here we go then, Joe trying to make a move on Yaram. We have a bit of a slower move up the straight and into Lake Holm. Joe gets the move done. Yaram's on the outside. Can he fight back? Oh, he's going to get the inside, is he? Joe will have the better line, but Yaram, the bigger balls, makes it through. Determined move for Yaram there. Would have been much easier to pull out of it, but he stuck with it and has held on to 5th place. But that has certainly bought Chubbs the time he needs to break DRS. Must have been a poor run for Yaram heading out of Radion, because he had DRS open as well, and Joe's straight line speed was much better on that occasion. And if he's not careful, it could be defense or attack turning into defense for Joe. He's in a racing point sandwich. Oh, Adamako must have made a mistake somewhere. He's a second down this lap because he's lost. He's 1.7 now behind the leading pair, and that could be quite decisive. The fact that he's dropped out of DRS, can he get back in? Well, he's going to have to probably use some of his ERS to do so. And Joe in the slipstream, CVG close enough as well. Yarm doesn't go defensive. To be fair, you'd almost be better off letting him go at this stage. Then you'd have DRS heading back up towards Lake Com. I think it takes the position back, whereas now it might be tougher to fight it still. I guess we'll find out. At the front, well, it's been like this for a lot of this race, basically, as we got underway once again. In that 4/10 kind of range, 4 or 5/10 range. DRS has not been enough to help bridge that gap. See Adam using a bit more of his ERS there to try and get back into the full. That would be difficult, of course. Was having to contend with DRS as well. The guys in front, and that is Joe. Then he is through this time. That's Joe into 5th place. Then that's a big move for him on Yarm. And Yarm's got his teammate behind him as well, who picks up a 3-second penalty. There's one of the obviously corners. One of the corners I was mentioning that you could pick yourself a penalty up upon, because you want to cut it as much as you can, but of course take too much of it. And that is the end result. And if anything, I would say Yarm's going to be under pressure from his teammate very, very soon. But we'll stick at the front. We begin to enter the final phases of this race. Lap 17, almost to lap 18 of 22. So 5 laps remaining after this one. Still plenty of time for things to happen. Of course, with this being the longest track on the calendar. Did Jan get back into his car? No, he did not. Towards the bus stop chicane they come once again. Behind them, Stevie G not quite closer to his teammate this time. But Jarm still hanging in with within that DRS range of Joe, and that's going to be important. Could have a chance to take back that P5. As they head up towards Lake Com, lapped traffic in front, yellow flag sector 2. Not sure what that's for, but alas, it is gone now. I wonder if Thomas will get some DRS boost from that lapped car in front of him. He does get that benefit. That's unfortunate for Kieran Chap, that advantage that he has. The DRS, so basically look at this Yarm basically shoving Joe up the hill, and even though he's got basically no ERS, it should be an easy move, and that's not really well defended by Joe. Really, that could have easily been avoided. Could have easily gone defensive there, and yeah, an easy move for Yarm to make in the end. Don't need to give him a second invitation to go through like that down the inside. Very easy move for him to make, handed to him quite easily. See if see if he can escape within that 7/10 kind of range to where he should be safe even with the DRS. Even 5/10, 6/10 range in the case of in the case of Thomas, and that's been the gap for lots of this race. And Kieran Top has not been able to do a ton with it, but again, Joe the meat in the Racing Point sandwich, and it looks like it's the bottom layer that is creeping closer to them than he is to the top. Bit closer this time actually is Kieran. This might be his best opportunity to make a move. Just falls away a little bit. I thought maybe he's turned back the ERS. Thought maybe this might have been the lap to go for it. He was getting close as they exited Blanchimont. We can get a good run out of turn 1 here. This could be his best opportunity. His lap 19 of 22, almost at the back of him. He is a little bit closer than he has been before. He has a bit more ERS as well. I wonder if this could be the lap. We see an exchange for the lead. Flat as he like. Is he too far back? Opens the DRS. He is gaining and gaining. But again, it's just not close enough. He really has to be. Basically, I would say basically 2/10 as Joe and Yarm exchanging places. Once again, they've dropped Stevie G this lap. And cat and mouse, snakes and ladders. Joe back ahead of Yarm as Sway moves by Psychic. That's for 8th place. Well, Sway might salvage some points still from this race. A bit to go, yes. 3.5 laps to go, so to speak. And Adam's fallen a little bit further back, and he's just picked up a penalty this lap as well. So I wonder if he might just settle into 3rd place then. Doesn't have to really worry about much behind him in the form of Chubbs. And obviously Joe and Yarm squabbling for P5 here at the moment. So Adam can settle into a nice little podium here, and I think... Where did he start? Started 5th, so I mean you'll probably take that. Take that, given maybe guys behind him and obviously guys in front of him as well. So podium finish would be pretty decent, all things considered. It really does look like we were just looking at a stalemate here at the front, because unless the tyres just fall off completely for Thomas at the front here, because obviously he's come to the end of this race, he's going to be on those hards for basically the entirety of the race, basically, bar, what, 2 laps? So, maybe, but at the moment, that's the only reason I see, that's the only thing I would, you know, obviously penalties excluded, which I don't believe either of them have one. It's the only thing I would really see, obviously, bar that and a mistake, that would really, you know, separate the two of them at the moment. Even this lap, Thomas is 8/10 clear. Ooh, Yarm of a twitch. But he's got the ERS once again. His team is right behind him as well, so it could be a double. Ooh, Stevie has to back off. He might still go for the move on Joe. Yarm is through. Oh, much later on the brakes. Joe, much later on the lakes that lap. Good braking there, and he managed to take that position back. So good stuff from Joe to take that position back much later on the brakes, and he was able to make that position back. So instead of looking like he could have easily lost 2 places there to the racing points, he is ahead of them still as we go through Puan one more time, and then 2 more times after this lap 20 of 23. Of course, we sent a lot of this race under either VSC or safety car, but oh, and that could be the difference right there. A 3-second penalty for Kieran Trapp. That should see Thomas through, barring a mistake. And that's ultimately what it was going to basically be today, to decide with the victory of this race between those two. Nothing else was really separating them. Oh, a bit of a twitch there for Stevie G. That could have got hairy very quickly. But I guess this is the main battle to look at, really. Battle for 5th place between the 2 title contenders. Of course, Joe would need a lot more points to try and make up on Yarm than just between 5th and 6th. As we go on to the penultimate lap. 21 of 22. And again, 6/10. Again, that gap is fairly safe. 2.6 seconds back to Adam. Oh, Thomas got a penalty now as well. So, game on once again. Game on once again. If Kieran Trapp can get close enough, and Joe looks like he looks like he's a little bit safer this time to Yarm than he has been the previous laps, even with Yarm attacking with the DRS. Of course, he's run out of ERS basically, and this could be to Joe's advantage then. Who has got fastest lap at the moment? Is F1 AMG, who is outside the top 10. That will not mean anything for the time being. But of course, should anything change and F1 AMG moves into the top 10, then that would mean he gets an extra point. And look at this, Kieran Trapp a bit close to this lap. So if you can get a good run out of Stavilo and Paul Frere, you could definitely get enough slipstream heading through Blanchemont and to the chicane to make a move. And I wonder, to be fair, Thomas got a lot more ERS, but to stop Kieran Trapp from attacking, even with the slipstream, even with the overtake, slipstream is strong. Here we go then. Is this the lead? Oh, they've gone into each other, and into the wall goes Thomas. An accident between the 2 drivers contending for this race win. It's all gone wrong. Contact made by Kieran Trapp into the back of Thomas has sent him into a wall, and well, as Captain Chubbs then retires, as is the case for reserve drivers. That would push F1 AMG up into top 10. And wow, so this last lap then Thomas has to try and contend with a broken front wing as the pack chases him from behind. Who knows how this race will unfold with penalties and the such. What ones are to be removed from safety car stuff, close game, or sorry, post race. What ones are obviously nonsense from the game. Which ones are going to be made in ruling up accidents If that is the case, we shall see. But at the moment, Kieran Trapp is leading this race. I don't want to make too much judgment on the accidents because we need a second view. But this is the last lap of the race. And now you can see Joe and Yaron right behind Thomas, who of course will be utterly defenceless. And nips through on the outside. This should keep Joe safe then as well. There he is then. Oh, Yaram has lost it. Can he catch it? He's got into the wall, and Yaram has now lost it as well. Reverses quickly to get off the racing line. And Joe is definitely safe then. That's a big one for the champ. Well, not a big one for the championship, but that certainly helps for the championship. Gets Joe a few more extra points on his rival. Oh, and Miles retired from the session. That's a shame. I was looking forward to see how many penalties he was going to end up with. But here we go then, heading up towards the bus stop chicane. He's had the pace to contend very early on. We'll see what happens with the stewards, but for the moment, Kieran Trapp comes across the line to win the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Adam Acko in second place. Timsy Corbin will pick up a third place finish as Sway gets by Thomas then. Joe goes into third. CVG then crosses the line of fourth. Sway, I think, might get him, will he? No, penalties will decide that Thomas, even despite that last lap carnage, will take back fourth place, pushing CVG and Sway down in position. Sygate then will come across the race in seventh. Yaram limps home in eighth, ahead of Unsafe Release, and then F1 AMG will come across the line to finish in 10th, and then Silas will wrap things up in 11th place. That was a controversial end to Belgium Grand Prix. Plenty of stuff to go on. So good points, good game there for Joe, but Yaram will still lead into the next round of Monza. But yeah, well, what a race at the end there. There's the fastest lap and the extra point for F1 AMG, 45.2. So he gets 2 points for his 9th place, or 10th place rather. And Silas will come across the line for the Golden Pineapple in 11th place. Quite the event in the end. Even if the start was kind of stop-starty. There you go, then there's your winner. It is Kieran Trapp ahead of Adam Acko and Joe in third. Take a hoist of that trophy. But obviously it'll be interesting to see what happens between, if that incident is going to be reported. I'd imagine it would be, but we shall see what happens. So we'll run down the finishing order one more time before we finish here today. So Kieran Trapp wins ahead of Adam Acko second. Timsy Corbett, the only person not to get a penalty, in third place. Thomas fourth, CVG fifth, Sway then in sixth, Sygate seventh, Yaram eighth, Unsafe Release ninth, F1 AMG 10th, and Size in 11th. 21 seconds worth of penalties for Miles. Well, that was impressive. A big missed opportunity for many drivers, I think Sway especially, because given how everything unfolds at the end, could have easily been his race win today. Could have been for a lot of people, could still be, never know. But that is going to do it for round number 13 of the Masters Championship for Division 2. Next up for these guys will be the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, but next up for TMC it will be Division 1 boys, given their runs of the same track at Spa. So thanks very much for watching, and until next time.